Let's start with the story. I've always been an unassuming, trusting kind of guy. My wife, Lisa, had an independent streak that I admired, but it turns out it was more like a two-lane highway for infidelity. The emails hit me like a cannonball to my gut, long, winding love letters filled with intimacy I hadn't felt in years. Phrases like "your touch" and "last night," all from men who weren't me. The worst part? The timestamps traced back to the second year of our marriage. I couldn't comprehend the extent of it. I mean, the second year, for crying out loud. It's like buying a new car and on the second day realizing it's been leaking oil this whole time, and not just any oil, but top-tier premium stuff. The irony was palpable. Lisa and I had been talking about starting a family, and this whole infidelity thing threw me into the emotional equivalent of a tumble dryer. I wanted to be a dad, yes, but not while my wife was moonlighting as a one-woman Mardi Gras. Now, all I could think about was whether or not she was still doing this sort of thing and if I should be starting a family with her. That's when I started noticing things: weird absences, strange phone calls, and a lingering scent of cologne that wasn't mine. She'd been going to the gym before I got off work, getting her nails done on her girls' nights, but never once did it cross my mind that I might be the proverbial cuckold. Fed up, I decided to do some snooping of my own, but work was crazy busy. I needed help, so I did what any self-respecting man driven mad by suspicion would do: I hired a private investigator. That's when things went from bad to catastrophic. My wife was playing house with not one but two other guys. One was a gym junkie, ripped as a comic book character, and the other, a manager at Dunkin' Donuts of all places. I mean, come on, a donut guy? I don't know if I was more pissed at Lisa or the fact that my wife was getting wooed by a man who probably smelled like glazed sugar and regret. Enough was enough, I decided. But then Lisa dropped the baby bomb. I could see it in her eyes, pure elation. And all I could think was, who's the father? It was like being handed a winning lottery ticket and realizing it's expired. I played along, celebrated, kissed her, and felt the gnawing abyss of uncertainty deepen. Divorce was no longer a question, but first, I needed answers. Was I going to be a dad, or was I just a placeholder in a cruelly drawn-out episode of Maury Povich? Revenge brewed inside me like a bad cup of coffee. I wanted her to feel what I felt, and I wanted those two clowns out of my life. So here I am, planning a sweet dish of vengeance while preparing to go through a divorce and potentially becoming a father. It's like being the world's most reluctant multitasker. Step 1, the DNA test. That's non-negotiable. Then, with the information at hand, decide on my next course of action. Divorce, that's for certain. The question is how to go about it. Revenge? Well, it's so freaking cliché, but that's a dish best served cold, right? Maybe I invite these two Romeos over, confront them, and watch the panic and fear creep into their eyes. Or maybe I just beat them at their own game, winning back Lisa's affection only to drop her like a hot potato. But here's the thing, I want to build a peaceful life after the storm, one filled with quiet Sundays and no more heart-wrenching emails. Revenge has to be measured, calculated, but most importantly, it has to set me free from the anger, the betrayal, the incessant urge to check her phone every time she steps out of the room. I figured, why not go full Ocean's 11 on this? After all, both these guys were infatuated with Lisa. So what if I turned that against them? Make them suspicious of each other, plant doubts, a few fake emails here, a couple of insinuating texts there, and boom, let their jealousy take over. It might not be as satisfying as a punch in the face, but it's cleaner, legal, and just as devastating. Plus, it has the added bonus of not ruining my chances at a clean divorce. Divorce, the word used to send shivers down my spine, but now it's become my North Star, guiding me to sanity. I'm not looking forward to the process, but it's a hurdle I need to jump. I have a good lawyer, a clear goal, and most importantly, the truth. With those in my corner, I'll get through this. But the baby, now that's the million-dollar question. Is it mine, or am I just a potential babysitter for someone else's child? The answer will shape everything that comes next. I've already made arrangements for the test, and all I can do now is wait. But whatever the outcome, I'm determined to carve out a peaceful life for myself. Maybe I'll pick up that guitar again or start working on that novel I always talked about. And someday, when the dust is settled, I might just venture into the world of dating again. However, for now, I've got a revenge plot to unfold, a divorce to finalize, and a paternity test to nervously await. It's quite the mess, but you know what they say, the calm comes after the storm, and I'm damn ready to weather it. Here's the first update. A few days had passed since my Ocean's 11 style plan had hatched, and I was feeling a heady mix of dread and anticipation. With a newfound digital identity, I reached out to my wife's gym rat boyfriend, laying on the charm as the naive fitness newbie looking for workout tips. We hit it off, and before long, I casually slipped in the photos of Lisa and the donut guy. It's a shame, man, I wrote, hoping to find a girl like her someday. I always see this chick at the donut shop over on 5th. It's a shame she's with a tubby dude like this. It didn't take long for the proverbial ball to start rolling in a whirlwind of texts and speculations. I guided the gym rat to the scene of Lisa's betrayal, creating an anonymous tip-off with the precision of a clockmaker. I knew what day she got her nails done, and now, so did the gym rat. When the day of her next nail appointment finally arrived, my heart pounded like a tribal drum. Sitting in my car across the street, I watched Lisa sashay into the nail salon. Then, right on cue, the gym rat showed up, ready to catch them in the act. As the chaos ensued, I slipped into the background, phone in hand, recording the entire spectacle. The moment the gym rat entered Dunkin' Donuts, the atmosphere became a powder keg, ready to explode. His eyes darted between Lisa and the donut guy, muscle-bound and bristling with confrontation. The donut guy was no Greek god, his body was a testament to one too many pastries. But his confidence didn't waver. The gym rat charged, but the donut guy sidestepped, showcasing surprising agility. His fist connected with the gym rat's face, sending him staggering back. The gym rat roared, red-faced, and swung back, but the donut guy bobbed and weaved, dancing around him like a seasoned boxer. Amid the flying donuts and the shocked gasps of bystanders, the donut guy, against all odds, took down the gym rat with a final blow that sent him sprawling across the linoleum. Sweat gleamed on the donut guy's face as he stood victorious, breathing heavily while the gym rat groaned on the floor, his ripped physique failing him in the face of unexpected adversity. It was like a Jerry Springer episode in real life, the ripped gym rat, the donut guy, my wife caught in the middle. Her face pale, mouth agape, and in shock. Then finally, her eyes met mine. Lisa's gaze was hollow, her face ghost white. She stammered, she sobbed, pleading in the middle of Dunkin' Donuts. It was almost as embarrassing as the day I found those emails. I remained composed, but my insides were churning. I want a DNA test and a divorce, I said, my voice steady. If it's my kid, I want full custody. The look on her face was almost worth the betrayal. She was cornered, helpless, and her sobs grew louder as the two guys just stared at her, dumbfounded and obviously wondering who the hell I was. And then I posed the question. I wonder how these guys found out about each other, I said, laughing as I walked away. It was almost cinematic the way she stared after me, her tears staining her cheeks, her world crumbling around her. When she finally came home, she was a wreck. Her voice was barely a whisper. How did you know? She asked. I looked at her, the woman I had loved, trusted. She was a stranger now. Disappointment washed over me, sour and bitter. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Instead, I walked to our room, retrieved a pillow and blanket, and tossed them at her feet. The door clicked shut behind me, locking away my past and hopefully opening a path to a better future. This was just the beginning, but I knew I'd weathered the worst. After all, every storm leads to a clear sky, and I was ready to step into the sunshine. Here's his final update. Hey guys, I'm back for one last update. The weeks following the Dunkin' Donuts debacle were a whirlwind of legal paperwork, tearful confrontations, and one very damning paternity test. The baby, it turned out, wasn't mine. It belonged to the donut guy, the unexpected victor in this messy love triangle. Lisa, probably drawn to the newfound machismo of her sugar-glazed Romeo, started dating him, perhaps in a desperate attempt to salvage some semblance of stability from this wreckage. The divorce proceedings were surprisingly smooth. Lisa didn't contest it, and she didn't ask for anything. Maybe guilt, maybe resignation, or perhaps the harsh reality of the situation had finally hit home. As for me, I packed up my life and moved closer to my hometown, a suburb, quiet but still within proximity to the city's hustle and bustle. My parents were thrilled, and my sister's kids couldn't get enough of their cool uncle being around more often. It was a different life, quieter, slower, but it was exactly what I needed. The gym rat was a mystery. After his rather public humiliation, he vanished as though swallowed by the earth. Maybe he found someone else's marriage to interfere with, or perhaps the incident served as a wake-up call. But in the end, everything worked out. Life had thrown me a curveball, but I dodged it, albeit not without some bruises. It served as a lesson, a reminder of the importance of caution and wisdom. Despite the storm that had swept through my life, I felt thankful because it could have been so much worse. Instead, I came out stronger, wiser, and more determined. I was ready to face a new chapter, leaving the tempest behind and stepping into calmer, brighter days. Wow, I'm glad he was able to dodge several bullets amidst the chaos. Would you have done anything differently, or do you think his response was spot on? Let us know in the comments section. Dear listener, if you have reached this far, please click on the subscribe button. It will be a great help.